Hello 108 students, Mr. McHugh back here with you on section 6.1, and we're going to go ahead and tackle page 2 of our class notes. Okay, so we are factoring out binomials, and now this time I just want to help everybody look here. You'll see a bunch of parentheses here, so just to help clarify, whenever you see two parentheses, assume multiplication going on, this is all one term. Whenever you have multiplication between factors, it's one term. The plus sign separates terms. So therefore the second set of parentheses is your second term. Okay, now they ask us to factor this binomial. Now why is this a binomial? Well, because it has two terms. Okay, so now that you kind of diagrammed out the structure of what you're looking at, the key to factoring out here is you've got to look at parentheses and consider them as factors. And notice that x minus 5 is in both terms. And so therefore that could be a factor that you quote pull out, call it your GCF, x minus 5, and you pull it out. And once you've done that, then you ask yourself, where do you left with to go from x minus 5 times what to produce the first term? Answer the other set of parentheses or binomial, or x plus 6. Over here, you got to take x minus 5 and multiply by what to achieve the second term? Answer is the second parentheses, so 2x plus 5. Okay. So that's what you got doing there. Notice I've got two sets of parentheses here. And then what I did was inside the big parentheses, x plus 6 plus 2x plus 5, you combine like terms. 1x plus 3, 2x is 3x, 6 plus 5 is 11. And you stop here when you have simplified it down to you're multiplying it by two factors. They're two sets of parentheses. Okay. So you might be tempted, but you do not do is FOIL and multiply these out. Okay, you stop. They have to be in factored form, means multiplication. If you factored, you would have a three-term, you'd have a trinomial. Okay, so let's try this guy. Example 3b. They ask you to factor. Again, you've got a binomial. Here's your first term. Here's your second one, and that's all because first, there's multiplication going on here, multiplication going on here between the parentheses and the term outside, and the plus sign separates. Okay, now what do you see common? M plus M is in both of them, so that's your GCF. You pull that out, and now you give yourself a set of parentheses. What do you need to multiply it by to produce or boomerang back your original problem? Z squared will produce first term, and x squared will help produce the second one when you take m plus n quantity squared and do the distributive property on it. Okay, so we're doing pretty good here. Example 4, if you look in the book here, they're trying to illustrate that sometimes when you go to pull out the GCF, you could look and see, as soon as you see the leading term have a 1 in front of it, you cannot pull out any other coefficient. So the 3 and a 5 and a 1, you cannot have anything common with a 1 in there. So you're not going to have a number in front here, a coefficient. You've got your variable a in all three of them, so you know you can pull out an a. This is the preferred way to go. This is how most students would probably do this problem. You can pull out an a. If you pull out a positive a, what would you have to multiply by to get negative? A to the third minus a squared, a positive 3a. Again, I'm just doing the reverse distributive property, produces 3a squared. A times minus 5 produces a minus 5a. Okay, now that's the way they want it, but they just want to show you that if you needed to, you could pull out a negative 1a. Now the book doesn't show the 1 because it's when the coefficient is 1, you do not have to write it there. So if you pull out a negative 1, what would you have to multiply it by to produce a negative a3, a positive a squared? Notice the signs all switch. A negative 3a and a plus 5. Okay, so keep that in mind. Usually you want to pull out an A, but once in a while you might want to pull out a negative. Yeah, I think you'll see that here down the road in a couple pages, page or two coming up. Okay, page 5 I decided to do on page 3, and so I skipped down here to example 6, and now we get to do factoring by grouping. Okay, so here we go. What are they talking about? You're going to use parentheses. That's the big technique here for these problems. And to help trigger that, what you're going to say to yourself is, you look at this polynomial, how many terms do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. What separates terms again? A polynomial? Addition or subtractions. Okay, now they tell you to factor. You need to write this so that when you're all done, there's nothing but multiplication going on. Okay, now first you look at this and you're like, what the heck? So the secret of this is, if you see 4 terms, you want to use association by factoring, mental parentheses. Now you're going to write them on the book so that you notice here I put the plus sign, so then I included the negative with it, negative ax plus ay. Okay, just watch that plus sign there. Okay, so if you put that parentheses there, then your challenge is to look at each set of parentheses and isolate it, and then ask yourself, can you pull out a GCF? That's the big thing. Then all of a sudden you see the 3 and a negative 3. I pull out a positive 3, and I'd be left with, inside the first set of parentheses, x minus y. When I did the distributive property, it would produce that first parentheses or binomial. Okay, now I pull out the 3, left with x minus y inside. Over here, I'm now going to choose to pull out the negative. Okay, so I'm going to say plus a negative, and then I'm left with x minus y. Now the reason this example 4 up here, and they showed you the positive or negative, is you're doing a little bit of rigging, and the goal here is to get your set of parentheses to be exactly the same. Do you see the x minus y and the x minus y? So this is a double process of pulling out a GCF the first time and then doing it the second time. And when you do it the second time, you're looking to pull out the parentheses x minus y. So you pull that out your second time, that's your new second GCF, and you're left with what to produce the polynomial up here. So you multiply it by x minus y as a binomial, you multiply it by 3, produces 3 times quantity x minus y, and then multiply by negative a, produces the negative a times x minus y. And thus here's your final answer. The quantity, the binomial x minus y times the parentheses 3 minus a. Okay, these ones are not too bad. You're always going to start off with grouping the first 2 terms and then grouping the second 2 terms. I like to put the plus sign in there and help deal with the negatives. Okay, I'm going to sign off here now for page 2. We've got that one done. We still have page 3 to work on, class, for this section 6.1. So when I see you in the next video, I'll see you on page 3. Okay, I'll catch you around. Bye.